Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans and Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And being that Mother's Day is past, I want us to think about about things Indigenous people do today, how we think, how we present ourselves in our own land so the immigrants coming over here can see how we get down. I want to share this clip with you. And this is an indigenous woman. And when it's finished playing, I'd like to get the feedback from the audience of what this woman is talking about and what this woman is saying and how she's carrying herself. So without any further ado, check out how this sister comes across. Check this out.
Let's listen to McKinney as she questions Rumsfeld on the missing trillions and hear Rumsfeld's pathetic response.
I thank the gentleman, the gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. McKinney.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I watched President Bush deliver a moving speech at the United Nations in September 2003, in which he mentioned the crisis of the sex trade. The president called for the punishment of those involved in this horrible business. But at the very moment of that speech, DynCorp was exposed for having been involved in the buying and selling of young women and children. While all of this was going on, DynCorp kept the Pentagon contract to administer the smallpox and anthrax vaccines and is now working on a plague vaccine through the Joint Vaccine Acquisition Program. Mr. Secretary, is it policy of the U.S. government to reward companies that traffic in women and little girls? That's my first question. My second question, Mr. Secretary, according to the Comptroller General of the United States, there are serious financial management problems at the Pentagon, to which Mr. Cooper alluded. Fiscal year 1999, 2.3 trillion missing. Fiscal year 2000, 1.1 trillion missing. And DOD is the number one reason why the government can't balance its checkbook. The Pentagon has claimed year after year that the reason it can't account for the money is because its computers don't communicate with each other. My second question, Mr. Secretary, is who has the contracts today to make those systems communicate with each other? How long have they had those contracts? And how much have the taxpayers paid for them? Finally, Mr. Secretary, after the last hearing, I thought that my office was promised a written response to my question regarding the 4 war games on September 11th. I have not yet received that response, but would like for you to respond to the questions that I've put to you today. And then I do expect the written response to my previous question, hopefully by the end of the week.
Thank you, Representative. The answer to your first question is no, absolutely not. The policy of the United States government is clear, unambiguous, and opposed to the activities that you described. The second question.
Well, how do you explain the fact that DynCorp and its successor companies have received and continue to receive government contracts?
I would have to go and find the facts, but there are laws and rules and regulations with respect to government contracts. And there are times that corporations do things they should not do, in which case they tend to be suspended for some period. There are times then that under the laws and the rules and regulations passed by the Congress and implemented by the executive branch, that corporations can get off of out of the penalty box, if you will, and be permitted to engage in contracts with the government. They're not generally not barred in perpetuity.
This company was never in the penalty box. If you could proceed to my second question, please.
The second question, I've forgotten what the second question was.
I think Ms. Jonas knows it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. I appreciate the question. I appreciate your interest in our department's financial condition, and we are working very hard on that program. I've just come back recently.
I understand that you're working hard on it, but my question was, who has the contract? How long have they had that contract? And how much money have we spent on it?
In general, we spend about $20 billion in the Department on Information Technology Systems. The accounting systems are part of that. I can get you the exact number for the record of what we spend on our current, what we call legacy systems, and those that we're moving toward.
And who has the contracts?
That would be a multitude of individuals.
Could you name some, please?
Well, I think off the top of my head, well, I would rather not. I'd rather provide that for the record.
That's not privileged information, is it?
I'm sure it's not.
Well, please. And we still have time, so please.
I would be glad to provide for the record. I don't want to talk from the top of my head and be incorrect.
On your first question, I'm advised by Dr. Chu that it was not the corporation that was engaged in the activities you characterized, but I'm told it was an employee of the corporation. And it was some years ago in the Balkans that took place.
It's my understanding that it continues to take place. And
is that right?
Yes.
Well, if you can give me information to that effect.
I'm sure you are interested in all of the information that I have, and I'll be more than happy to provide it to you.
Good, thank you.
But I would also like to get information from you.
Okay.
For example, the information that I just requested about who has those contracts.
Let me assure the gentlelady that we'll make sure that this exchange of information takes place. And Mr. Secretary, if you can get back with us on the DynCorp
we will
story, we'll get that to the gentlelady.
We'll get
Thank
back,
you, Mr. Chairman.
We'll get back on both of the first two questions, but the Congresswoman has raised the other question twice now, and I'd like to have General Myers respond because you mentioned it in the last hearing, and I think it'd be helpful to get the answer, even though we're on red. If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
General Myers, go right ahead.
But I would like to have the answer in writing as well, as I thought my office was promised.
Okay, I don't know about the promise, Congresswoman, but could you repeat the question to make sure I'm answering the right question? This is 9/11 question.
The question was, we had 4 war games going on September 11th, and the question that I tried to pose before the Secretary had to go to lunch was whether or not the activities of the 4 war games going on September 11th actually impaired our ability to respond to the attacks.
The answer to the question is no, did not impair our response. In fact, General Eberhart, who was then the commander of North American Aerospace Defense Command, as he testified in front of the 9/11 Commission, I believe he told them that it enhanced our ability to respond, given that NORAD didn't have the overall responsibility for responding to the attacks today. That was an FAA responsibility. But they were 2 CPXs. There was 1 Department of Justice exercise that didn't have anything to do with the other 3. And there was an actual operation ongoing because there was some Russian bomber activity up near Alaska. So
let me ask you this then. Who was in charge of managing those war games? And
General, why don't you give the best answer you can here in a short period of time, and we'll. The gentlelady wants to get a written answer anyway, and then we can move on
the
to
important
other
thing
folks.
is to realize is North American Aerospace Defense Command was responsible. These are command post exercises. What that means is all the battle positions that are normally not filled are indeed filled. So it was an easy transition from an exercise into a real world situation. It actually enhanced the response. Otherwise, it would take somewhere between 30 minutes and a couple of hours to fill those positions, those battle spaces with the right staff officers.
Mr. Chairman, begging your indulgence, was September 11th declared a National Security Special Event Day?
I have to look back. I do not know. You mean after the fact or before the
No, because of the activities going on that had been scheduled at the United Nations that day.
I'd have to go back and check. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, I thank the gentlelady. The chair would ask the gentleman from South Carolina to indulge us in that I should have called on Mr. Marshall here in the regular order and missed him, and the gentleman was here. So, if that is that okay, Mr. Wilson? We'll recognize the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate Mr. Wilson's indulgence.
Well, you're going to owe him.
So, Cynthia McKinney is her ancestors' contribution to what we have today. You are also your ancestors' contribution to the world today. Now, when you ask questions, and one of the things that the African American and the Blacks doesn't do well is ask questions, nor do they answer them. Is Cynthia McKinney an African woman? Is Cynthia McKinney a Hebrew Israelite? Or is she an American Indian woman? I mean, simple questions. Do other women carry themselves like her around the world? Here in America? No, that's how you can tell who you are. Most of the sisters you see walking and talking, they carry themselves like her. Only problem is they don't know anything. And they are always mad and talking out of the side of their neck. Brothers too. This is how you can tell who you are, by how they speak, the confidence in which they speak, what they're talking about. What other so-called Black women do you know that questions the government like that? Most of the time, men too go with what the government is saying and putting out. She is her ancestors' contribution to the world. You are your ancestors' contribution to the world, which means you have no time to not know nothing, calling yourself Black, calling yourself nothing. You have no time for that because you are what your ancestors put forth to guide us into the future. Am I right, Miss Cypress?
Oh, wow. Yes, absolutely. How are you doing, Carrie? Caillou.
I'm doing wonderful. And yourself?
Ooh, great, great, great. I thought that was if you want to put her back on the screen. I thought it was I thought it was fascinating that she mentioned the a pandemic vaccine way in advance that they were planning on making. In addition, I thought it was interesting how she was dealing very heavily with this trade and these people being trafficked. So yeah, she was hitting early on some very, very crucial things that has been going on for way too long. Too long. And we gotta start being smarter about this stuff. We got to start, being more critical in our thinking about these things, just like she was. And, she was putting their daggone feet to the fire, which really is the energy of what I consider a true indigenous, Negro indigenous American Indian, she did not, she didn't stammer, she didn't stutter, she didn't hesitate. She was ready to take them to the daggone task. And she didn't let them back down. She made them, they was wiggling, they was bouncing, they was hemming, they was hawing because she wouldn't let them out. She wouldn't let them out, And we should understand that, that's the people, that's the kind of women, that's the kind of people we're raised around. That's the kind of energy that we give. That's why it makes it hard for us actually though too, because they can't handle us when the power, the excellence the energy that we give off. It's a lot. You know, that they are not, they're not able to. They're going to keep up with. They can't keep up. They really can't. And so a lot of times when they can't keep up, they want to keep us out. And that's why we see a preference for these foreigners, but they don't like the foreigners because they actually love our energy and they need our ideas and they need us being the people that we are. However, um, to keep us down, they got to keep these other folks in.
And what she represents, this woman is not a thing.
No.
So when you look at yourself as a thing, and if you looking at yourself as black, black is a adjective that describes a thing. You would think we would know that by now. After all these years, you would think we would know that by now. We still don't know, but we want to get up and talk. And remember, you got people coming in replacing you. What are you leaving them? You're not things. And like Lisa was saying earlier, she wasn't backing down. That's the kind of energy you have. This energy is something that you create, that you produce. But when you refer to yourself as black and all these other terms that don't mean nothing, and is adamant in it, would give a hour-long diatribe on nothing. This is how other people know that we don't know stuff, and they can come in and make all kind of confusion. And normally the African American Negro falls for it every time. So now when you hear a lot of us speak,
But Carrie, why do they fall for it every time?
I'm
Why?
sorry,
Why do they fall for it every time?
refusing to learn, refusing to think. I
Mm.
mean, so 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 it was like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said a few years ago. If I can call you bitch and nigga and hoe and get you to answer to it, claim that you're it, I got you. This with this piece with Cynthia McKinney, it's 20 years old. 20 years old. And we still don't get it. And so there's no excuse to me. And when these people say that they're these certain things, I believe them because they're just not getting basic stuff. Simple stuff that we should understand and be teaching these youth, these young people the same thing so they won't be confused and things will change for us. But we always claiming to be some dumb shit that makes no sense. You are your ancestors' contribution to the world. You should at least know it. Africans don't tell you that. They'll come and tell you all kind of stuff. Not all, but guess what most Negroes do? Go for anything anybody else is saying about them, don't they? Isn't this what we do? What was the sister name in Mississippi? She wasn't going for it. She was in the 60s
Oh
and
yeah,
she was
um,
you know
yeah.
who I'm talking
I
about.
know who you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
she had the spirit of that sister. I don't hear Native Americans talking like that.
Oh, do you know about the Native Americans getting rowdy like that? No, no, you're not heard
They'll
that.
get and see, and why everybody is ganging up on you at the same time now is because you're waking up to the fact. They've been lying to you the whole time. Now you're calling them out on their lies. And what most people do when you call them out on their lies, first thing they do is get loud, like that's going to change something, start arguments, like that's going to change. And they do that type stuff because they know they've been caught. Guess who doesn't know that? Guess who always fall for the trick? The African American. will go against you and go with the people who are saying this isn't you. Remember that time? It was a few years ago. I brought it up a couple of weeks ago. The African woman wanted to climb up the Statue of Liberty because she wanted freedom, but she wouldn't do that in her own country. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
See, the women over there don't speak like this woman.
Yeah, those people that come over here, they don't know how to be like. They try to imitate us, but you could tell they can't really. It
They're
always comes off like like they're overshooting. They're overdoing it. They exaggerating it. It don't come off right at all, at all.
at all. And this is the woman that represents all of us. And we will say she African. She's not. And you should be able to tell just by the sound of her voice, just by the look on her face. You should be able to see that. There you go.
Fannie Lou
Fannie
Hamer,
Lou Hamer. Same ancestor. Same person.
right? Pretty much same
You should
person.
know that. But we always talking some crap somebody else has said that don't make no sense. We don't question anything. When somebody says something, the only thing the African black person does is repeat it. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen, I mean, you have all these social medias now, and this is all over the world. You can hear what people are saying. You got to be embarrassed if you're a black or African American or what is being said, what they're saying about themselves. You have to be embarrassed. Nobody's black. I told this girl one time, I said, your hair is black. Your skin isn't. She got pissed off and started cussing me out. Why? Because she was caught in a lie. You were trained to say that. Mostly everything African Americans and black people know, that's what they were trained to say. It's not that it's real, not that it makes sense, none of that. You're trained to say that. The men first, because remember, so we're having a discussion now about this black male, black female, how they're at each other's necks and throats. And when you look at us, you don't look at us from 50 years from now, or 50 years ago, or 50 years from now, or 75 years ago. You look at us from your ancestors' point of view. Why are men and women at each other's throat in their own house when you have a house full of immigrants? I mean, dogging each other. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why is this cat Kevin Samuels? He's such a stud in the black male. You have a black mother. You have sisters. You have grandmothers. And you're going to talk about your women like that? Go same for the women too. You have fathers, grandfathers, and this is how you guys go at each other's throat. What would your ancestors think of that? What would your ancestors who had the cotton farms, the tobacco farms, when they used everything they had to work together to make that a success, what would they think about you today, talking the crap you talking now? And how the brothers talk, brothers, you really can't say nothing. A high value man, in his own country doesn't keep his money in another man's bank. Amen. Amen. See, a high value man doesn't vote, doesn't push for the women who came and took your land to vote, and your women aren't voting. See, high value men don't do that. But women, since you guys don't know, and you should, You should, because you are giving birth to us all. You are giving birth to us all. And you let these brothers come and talk, and yeah, many of these brothers join these European groups, social groups, to get ahead over you. But then you fall right in line and join their groups too. Don't even think about your ancestors, what they had set up, what they set up, and other people wanted to come get. You don't think about that. You don't teach your kids that. You teach your kids that they came over here in a boat shitting and pissing on each other. That's what you teach your children. And that's what other people know. That's how they know they can get over on you. All of these immigrants are over here pimping you. And you give them the carte blanche to do it, don't you? Tell the truth about it. Stop playing with it, because the more you play with it, and the longer this goes on, when you find yourself crossing back over here, you'll be in the same place you are now. Stop lying to these kids. Stop saying stupid stuff every time you open your yap, and tell the truth about it. None of these stories they tell you, from the Bible to history to nothing, makes no sense. All you have to do is what that sister you just saw did, is question it. Just question it. Somebody say something, you just go for it, no matter how dumb it sounds. So you are your ancestors' contribution to the world. Keep that in mind, and let your children know where they stand in that, because they got to know. These,
Yeah, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. So what do you think is preventing us from moving forward now?
seriously, what I think a lot of these people uh that's calling themselves all these things, I think they are immigrants from other places. It's like Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is from Trinidad, but he comes over here and all of us act like, oh, he's Jesus in the flesh. You don't give no credence to Bobby Wright, Bobby Hemmett, none of the people who've been giving you information for years, and we just ignored it. So what I think is going on, a lot of these cats that come over here, they are from other places. They just say that they're you, and you believe it.
Right.
Stokely Carmichael, he's
Mhm.
not from here. All the Luther Vandross, they'll get somebody like him, tell him he's you, and you'll believe it. And so they'll mask people, pretend that they're you, and we go for it. And that just breaks us up totally complete. Well, shouldn't by now we be able to look at a person or listen to how they sound? Damn. To
Well,
find out
they
I'm
work
sorry.
mimicking us though. That's the thing. They make a, they make a, all they take all this work into mimicking us over and over again, copying our diction and our mannerisms. And we are very well studied. Uh, that's the thing. We are very, very well studied. And they get paid for that.
Yeah, but isn't it a time? Because every time I hear us speak, it's always like, we just can't win for losing. I don't know. I It hurt. I can't move. We always in that loser mindset. But when it's time to make other people win, you're right there at the vanguard and proud of it.
Um,
You
yeah.
you should hear how these Africans on these platforms are speaking about you. They're not at home. They're in your backyard talking shit about you, and you're agreeing with them. That what? We should know no better than that.
Mm,
All we have to do is beat up on the women.
mm,
That's what we come up with. And then you, like you say, and all they show you, If they show you this Diddy, if they show you this other cat, this is how the world sees you. This is how you act. What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna rally against you like they always do. So you had one of these brothers. He's in one of these groups. So I asked him. I'm like, sir, no, you know how when we talk, we try to talk loud, like we know what we talking about. So I just asked him, brother, do you have more things in your house produced by immigrants, or more things in your house produced by indigenous people here in America? He hung up. And so that's what I mean. We always running our yap, never knowing what we talking about. All these immigrants are coming over to do one thing: make a living off of your ancestors' contribution to the earth. That's you. And we don't seem to have a problem with it, do we? Do we? Do we, Lisa?
Seem like they that we seem to want them to win more than we want each other to win. That's what
Exactly.
confuses me.
Exactly. We want other people to win more than we want more to win. How did that happen? How did we get sucked into that? How do we get sucked in, destroying what we try to do, talking down on it? Listen, I have people talk about me like a dog, and they can't even explain why they're doing it. But they will look at other people and pray
Hmm.
for them to win.
Friend.
You are your ancestors' contribution to the world. Act like it. That's all you got to do. Act like it. If you don't know, ask somebody in your family knows, and you know how we are with family. We try to break out of that and try to go be with Hebrew Israelites, Moors, Christians. We try to be all of that other stuff, but we won't be ourselves. Why do you think that is? Your royal quietness says, because we've been turned into the culture vultures by not knowing our own, so we attach to others. I can see that.
Hmm.
I can see that. It's like you went to a green corn festival yesterday.
Yeah, on
So
Saturday.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So green corn festival. So here, this is just a little bit of it. So none of us know, most of us, I won't say none of us, because it's never none of us. Most of us don't even know what a green corn festival is. But we know, damn near all of us know, to celebrate New Year's in the dead of winter. Isn't that what we do? And it's really getting old for us to saying, I didn't know. You never know nothing. You never try to learn. You never question nothing. And always asking questions that makes no sense. Give me, show me the book, show me where that's written. When you're shown what is written, you don't believe it. When you shown what is written, no matter how dumb it is, you go with that. It's right. You don't have to be shown anything. It's shown to you daily. All you got to do is open your eyes and look. All you have to do is use some of the simple powers that you have. You can't think. You can't look into the future. You can't look into the past. You can't connect yourself to your ancestors. You can't do that. You think something what you do, powers that you have, things that you do, you think that's going to be put out for you to understand? You're born with these I like to call them powers because they are, because we don't use them. We'll teach other people to use our stuff. Huh? How they take our land? I mean, I don't this is from my observation of it. And if somebody would like to correct me, please do. How did they take our land? Uh One of the things I see is that you wanted their women, right? See, when you ask brothers that, they oops, they don't want to talk. You wanted their women, didn't you? Still do, right? Because see, when we always talk about manhood and all that, isn't the man supposed to be over the land and take care of the land, protect it, make sure the right things are growing on it? Isn't that what the men's supposed to do? Long as a man can throw a football, put a ball in the hole, those are our heroes, aren't they? You don't talk about your grandfather, your great grandfather, the men who had all the acres before they were warred out and flooded out. You don't talk about them. You even call yourself Black Wall Street. Why would you name your financial institutions after the institution that came and shut yours down? That's the kind of stuff the African American does. These people didn't bring money with them. These people didn't bring court systems with them. These people didn't bring laws with them. They took yours, or you gave it to them, didn't you? You don't want to talk about that. So you want to go hide into some Hebrew Israelite, some Moorish stuff. What? You mean Moors bought laws with them? And our children won't know that because we don't know that. We don't even think about it. Whatever somebody says, no matter what they say, we swallow it and repeat it, don't we? Chief Crazy, Overstand. So that's my point too. How we always getting tricked? How we never know? How
Well,
are you?
I
How
don't.
are you? Go ahead,
that-
Lisa.
I don't think everybody we getting tricked all the time. It's not
Right,
all the time being tricked. Some of
right.
it is actually, straight up threats and war, but they don't have the damn audacity not to declare it. So we don't know we're being warred upon. And the fact that people were actually their houses were burnt down. Every time you understand we talk about all these burnings and floods and all this stuff and the crops being destroyed and people but see, these things happen for real. I mean, I think we like to talk about it, but we don't like to feel it. We don't like to really marinate in it.
Okay,
So
okay. So okay. Let me say because
let me roll.
this is a cold contention right here. Okay, so like they say all these things, but when you look at the time these things were going on, wasn't there men in the army fighting against each other while all this stuff was happening? See, this is what I'm saying. So, I mean, let's just keep it close. Let's not go back too far, but let's take the Vietnam War. As you was getting dogged out in the streets, didn't you have brothers over in Vietnam fighting the Vietnamese? Isn't that the contention Muhammad Ali was making? Why go over to Vietnam when I'm getting dogged out of my own land? Wasn't that said, what, 60 years ago? with
but
Muhammad Ali.
but the reality is, even Muhammad Ali was being warred upon because they're using most of their tactics of war against us are psychological. And then we sit up there and right now we talk about, ooh, the church does it. But the church, that whole daggone scenario is still working because the Moorish temple is nothing but a temple. Hello? It's a temple. Trust and believe they're getting benefits just like the church. Trust and believe that the government is backing the Moorish temple just like the church. Trust and believe that these Hebrew Israelites are backed by the government just like the church. Trust and believe they're giving government benefits just like the church. And why does the government back them? Because they herd the sheep. They keep us under control. They keep us confused. They keep us divided. So even though Muhammad Ali was partially woke, he wasn't free. He just jumped into one prison to another. So he opposed the Vietnam War, but he sat up there and got wrapped up in Islam. And Islam had him in another chokehold, but he didn't know it. So everywhere you go, there's something to daggone trap you if you are not perceptive, if you're not wise, if you don't understand what the trickery is. So yeah, it's a psychological thing, but there's so many traps. And now they got this media in our hands every day and in our ears, and literally in our ears. It's in their brain, right? So the fact that you're going to sit up there and have this stuff drummed into your head, literally in your face all day and night, and then people want to find their identity, and they got people telling them they're Hebrew Israelites. Oh, you from the Bible? I'm from the Bible. I'm a God. I'm a this. Okay, great. That does something for your ego. Oh, I can get you out of your daggone traffic ticket. I got answers for you. I'm the Moor. Oh, I'm a Moor. Oh, yeah. I'm powerful. And guess what? Many police officers are Moors. And that's why they win. And the other reason they win is daggone trickery. Because the government wants you to fall into these groups. Because when you fall into these groups, you ain't gonna get shit. They don't ever get shit. What they got? They don't get shit. They get little favors, just like the Native Americans. Just enough to keep you quiet, passive, and controlled.
So this is okay. Okay, so this is what I mean by it. And Chill Will, this is I just wanted to use your example because this is how it happens. These terms that we're using, like she was saying about Muhammad Ali not going to Vietnam War, but he was a Muslim. Absolutely right. But it was put out there, hey, don't go fighting these wars because you're setting yourself up for a big failure. Now the Vietnamese, you fought against the Vietnamese. Now how are they bringing their culture over here, setting up in your backyard, pimping you of your resources, and you support them? Yeah, he was. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Muhammad Ali was one of them. He was an athlete. Athletes and entertainers normally do what they're told, or they won't be athletes and entertainers anymore. We all know that. But the brother, when you was talking about Native Americans, this is a problem we're having now because we don't understand the term, and we'll start using the terms against ourselves, putting us deeper in the hole. Native American, in reference to the Aboriginal people of America, is attested by a 1900 as the name of a journal devoted to Indian education. In the early 1970s, Native Indians, I'm sorry, not Native, activist Indians began, remember, this is the early 1970s, This is when they began calling themselves Native Americans. We'll show you dollars in 1861 with your parents, your grandparents on it. These people can come tell you they Native Americans that didn't start getting here to 1970. You'll accept that, not you guys on the panel listening now, but a lot of so-called African American blacks will take that term and use it on themselves. What does that do? And how don't we know? And because that's one of the things that pisses me off. We never know nothing. They began calling themselves Native Americans in that 1907 from the peyote using Native American church. Peyote is something like it's another drug. It's another drug from using Native American church. Now, they've been calling themselves Native Americans a long time. And what I'm saying, and maybe I might be wrong because everybody's going to tell me I'm wrong, shouldn't we know this stuff by now? And if we don't, how come we don't know? The Native American Church was incorporated in 1918 in Oklahoma and subsequently in other states. So, Oklahoma, isn't that where the so-called Black Wall Street was at? How come you didn't see no Native Americans there? How come no Native Americans were killed during the Black Wall Street? This is how you're always tricked. And I'm sorry. Shouldn't we start questioning these things instead of just going up all along with what we've been told? Yeah, peyote is a hallucinant. Thanks, Doris. Lisa, you had something? So that's what I'm saying. These terms and these words that so that's what I'm saying. These words and terms, how are we always strict? How are we always I mean, I'm not talking about once or twice. I'm talking about always tricked and bamboozled when you got children coming behind you. They have to know this stuff. And just like the Native Americans do wherever they come from, the Vietnamese gonna go call themselves Native Americans in a minute too. And
They,
we'll still be stuck in the black ideology.
yeah.
What you say, Lisa?
So they already, yeah, some of them already are, you know. I
Right.
mean, that's just the way it is. So I wanted to let Fanny talk for a minute and play her speech. Let me see if I got my volume. I don't see the volume at. Here it is. Sorry.
Is this America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off of the hook because our lives be threatened daily, because we want to live as decent human beings in America?
Mississippi came to Atlantic City to make this challenge to say that, hey, Mississippi actually deserves better. Mississippi deserves to be.
Oh, it's an ad.
Be represented in a full account of democracy. Not only that, we want to hold a mirror not only to our state, but to America to be what it said it could be on paper.
It was here that she delivered her famous speech in favor of integration and where she recounted the harrowing events that she had been forced to face just to exercise her most basic rights.
Well, I didn't know
and as this marker notes,
Mm-hmm.
while the efforts to integrate the delegation were not successful in 1964, it directly led to Mississippi's first integrated delegation in 1968. I'm gonna let it shine. All in Mississippi. I'm gonna let it shine. All in Mississippi. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
when she challenged America by saying, "Is this America, home of the free?" That really stuck.
My going to help Miss Hamer help people in the Mississippi Delta, it kind of got me recalibrated to where I needed to do some things at home. She fought for that participation to go forward. And we have to make sure that that participation in this day and time continues to go forward.
So when these cats be calling,
The
dogging
ballot
these
recounts
women out,
continue in 3 hotly contested federal.
when these cats be dogging these women out, talking crazy about these women, these are the women that you're talking about. These are the mothers, the grandmothers of all these kids that you putting down. When these immigrants come over here and they hear you talking, because believe me, they get all your stuff and take it and listen to it and play it back to each other. When they hear you talking about your mothers and grandmothers and daughters like this, what do you think they do? What do you think they say? When they hear a Kevin Samuels, when they hear all these shines talking down the women who gave birth to them. See, this is where I get real pissed off. If it wasn't for these women, you wouldn't even be here. Or what they was going through, and if you listen to Fannie Lou's Hamer story, these women should have aborted you when they found out they was pregnant, but they didn't. It was something that kept them to bring you forward. And now that they brought you forward, you dog them out. And there are women who love the men who dog them out. Don't you? This is where we are. This is where we are today. So, a whole bunch of stuff. That's why Happy Mother's Day. It goes out to women like this, not women who get BBLs. It goes out to women like this, women who do whatever to bring life forward. Because what's going on in this country, because a lot of the men will go fight in Ukraine before they fight for their homes here. Won't you? So Happy Mother's Day to me is for those women. Those women. And you're going to say, what women won't? Dude, you're here to make life better with them. And you don't make it better, you make it worse. And you think it's cool. So on these Mother's Days, remember people like Cynthia McKinney, your grandmothers, mothers, aunts, friends, because we've met more women that are off the hook, that have looked out for us, that's taken care of us. We've met more of those women in our life than not, right?
Right.
Right? Where will we be? Where will we be without the women in our lives? I mean, I hear these brothers talk about sisters like, I'm like, damn, dude, really? I mean, cold-blooded. So to me, and this could also be the thing too, is kind of like I was saying about Luther Vandross. Luther Vandross is Dutch. Luther Vandross is Dutch. A lot of these cats come over here and, like Lisa said earlier, pretend like they're you. And guess who's tricked by that? And that's what I mean. You should be able to listen to these women's voices. You should be able to see how these people move. It's like an ant doesn't move around the earth like a bumblebee. A deer doesn't move around this like a goat. You got different attributes about yourself that you should be able to pick out. You got different sounds that you make that you should be able to pick out because you've been hearing them your whole life because these are the people who brought you forth. I didn't know. Huh? They tricked us. You always being tricked. Then when you tricked, you try to act like you didn't know. You never know nothing. This is what I'm saying. This is all I'm saying, huh? You always tricked? Always? Yeah. Phyllis Wheatley. When they tell you you couldn't read or write, what was this sister doing?
Yeah, but you know, they always trying to make Phyllis be an African, right? And so if you ask AI about her, they're like, no, there ain't no proof of none of that. There's none of no proof of Africa. All they know is that a family in Boston adopted her when she was 8 or 9. There ain't nothing to shade that she was an African, but they always want to perpetuate her being. There's no original. There's no what's actually proven. There's no birth record, no African tribal affiliation, no African language or writings. They say she was purchased when she was 7 or 8. I guarantee you, there's probably no proof of that. If we really went down to it, was there proof of that? Probably not. Her name is Phyllis. Like she comes from the slave, but there's no ship log or customs proving her embarkation. So they're making up stuff. They made up all this stuff about her. She never admitted that, nor did she ever daggone give any hints of that she was Africa or any affiliation. And if she was daggone free and celebrate enough to travel, wouldn't you have gone back home if that's your home? Right? And that's the thing that they want to miss on a lot of these people. A lot of these people that were sea captains and people that had resources from as early as the 1500s, they weren't trying to go to Africa because they weren't from Africa. Let's talk about this person. Let's talk about the fact that when we talk about this, what did somebody say? Somebody in the chat said, when women unite. I wanted to talk about that. I don't know how to get this off the screen. Let me see. Maybe if I take it off the screen, let me see. All right. So when women, I'm sorry, I did it again. Sorry. I keep trying to remove stuff the wrong way. Okay. So when women reunite, the men will fall into their rightful and respectful places in terms of going back to matriarchal society. Now, I hear a lot of people saying that today, but in reality, I don't see a lot of people doing that as far as in real. And I feel like when the problem with women uniting is that women are a lot of times, I don't know if that's just something that's today or that's something that's always been, but I think the egos of women are kind of out of control. And it's like, in order for us to come together, we got to calm down that spirit. We got to be able to be humble, and be able to be gracious and be able to not take things as an assault. Like if people are saying something or they have an opinion, the whole thing of taking it personally is something that we're having trouble with, I think, at this time and space. People tend to take things personally very quickly and then talk about getting in their feelings, and then they have a very hard time retracting from that. Our ability to forgive is not a very strong muscle. We don't exercise that forgiveness muscle very much. It's flabby, it's weak, and it's out of control. We need to be able to snap back from our hurt feelings and forgive faster, okay? Because the fact is, we can't be holding on to stuff, and we can't get in our feelings about stuff because it prevents us from moving on. Well, I didn't like the way she said that, or I thought she meant that, or I don't like the way she sounded when she did that. Okay, no, okay. All that stuff is extra stuff that nobody needs or wants. It's not going to help you. It ain't going to help your kinfolk. It ain't going to help the coming generations. We don't need all them feelings and I think and it sound like and I don't, appreciate all this other emotions need to be edited out of our future because we cannot move forward being this way. We have to be estrogen can be an objectivity blocker. It blocks your ability to be objective a lot of the time. You got to tone down your estrogen and be objective. Don't take things personal. Don't get in your feelings. Don't be triggered by things. Oh, that gets sick. Oh, why does everything got to trigger you? Why do you got to refer to other things when other people, when the present person is bringing something up, you ain't got to go tripping back into the past and let it trigger you something that they ain't done nothing. They have nothing to do with it. Stop being triggered. Being triggered is a choice. We choose to be triggered. You don't have to let somebody so-and-so, how they said it or whatever, trigger you to that. Oh, that reminds me of something. That's just like, no, you don't have to you choose to let that escalate. You choose these emotions. We don't have to escalate. We can decelerate. We can calm the hell down. We can take some deep breaths, some nice cleansing breaths. We can count to 10. We can sing a tune in our heads. Whatever you got to do to recalibrate yourself, that's what we got to start doing. We got to start resetting in the moment and not destroying connections that we could have with people. We got to reserve judgment. We got to understand we ain't going to agree on everything and we ain't going to like everything about everybody. But our ancestors set us here to do something bigger. Our ancestors have us here to do something more important, and doesn't even have to do with you. Is if you are selected, it's for generations beyond you. So if you're one of them chosen people, if you selected to take on the task, then it's what you're doing. It ain't even for you. So don't let it be about you. Let me say it one more time. What you're selected to do, if you are selected, it ain't even for you. So don't let it be about you. Because it's not. It's about the children and future generations. Generations you will never see. Well, you might see, celestially, or you might be born again. I don't know. But it's not for you. It's beyond you. That's the truth. So, yeah, I like that. I do agree that once we unite, it's going to make major things happen. The right people uniting is going to make major things happen. The wrong people uniting ain't going to do shit. It's got to, but this is what I also truly believe. The right people uniting aren't going to have a lot of discourse because the right people uniting are going to be of this mindset where they're spiritually in the right place. Where they're going to be beyond the petty. See, people that want to cause a lot of discourse and got a lot of attitude and got a lot of insecurities, they not selected. They want to be, but you really are not ready. And maybe you will be that person, but maybe you're not at that age yet. I don't know. But basically, when you're ready, you're going to have a more secure mindset and you're not going to be wobbling back and forth. So I really feel like maybe it's more like the real ready ones, the ones that are really there, are going to actually be ready to cooperate and build, because when you aren't of the mindset and you're not the one and you're not ready, you can't come together with nobody because you got too much of your own issues you got to work out. You know what I mean? So it's gonna take the right women. So what did Max and V Productions say? Women are the largest demographic, therefore the ones which have power in dogmatic institutions such as church and education. I'm sure a lot of brothers were dragged to church yesterday to keep the peace. Well, I don't know. I don't know how much dragging is being done. I don't know how many people are actually going, But no, I feel like if you're truly an indigenous person or a person of this land, of the origin whose origin is from this land, this soil, then you know that women were very, very much in control of this place, especially the land. We are definitely the landlords. And that was very disturbing to the Europeans, which is why they told them, you only let these women do that. What are you doing? Because women in Europe, and when they brought them to here, they were property. They didn't want them women doing nothing, having nothing. They were property. They were commodities. We were never commodities in our country. We were empresses. We were werences. We were leaders. Our fathers willed the nation into our hands. Our mothers willed the nation into our hands. We were we didn't see with divisions between the sexes the way Europeans do. We just don't see that. So that's the thing. All these men that got all these things. Are you? What is it? What does they say? Carrie, talking about what kind of high value or high value. All this bullshit that's being pushed by your oppressor. All this dogma about high value man versus high, that's all oppressor talk. That's to keep us against each other, keep us in the trenches of the dirt and the damn sewer. That's to keep you living in the sewer, because that's some garbage. Okay, that whole garbage idea, red, pink, I don't know what it is, red or blue, I don't know. But the fact that they're trying to pit the sexes against each other and act like a woman got to be high valued and all. What do you know about being high valued? This is ridiculous. We don't even think in those terms. We never were those type of people. We value what's on the inside of the person. We don't value what's external. Yes, we like people to be beautiful, but most of us are. That's not a problem. But the whole, I mean, weight can be lost and gained. Hair can grow. What are you looking at? I don't know what the world. Stop being crazy and superficial. That's not what it's about. So
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. So as a people, we like to be healthy. We don't want really, traditionally we did not want to be obese. That wasn't something we were. We were outside. We were doing things. We were healthy. I know that's a thing in my from my grandparents. So basically, yeah, that's not something that we are. Obesity is not something that's part of our culture. It's not. We're not part of that. We're not like fat Buddhas. That's not us. So basically, being healthy is important. Okay, and they're intentionally trying to kill us with this food that keeps you starving. These empty calories that got you starving all the time, that keeps you hungry. Literally keeps you hungry because you are being given toxins. Food to
Daily.
you obese fat. Okay? This food is like, it's like when you eat this food, it's got chemicals to make you want to eat more. You can't understand why you want more of them damn them things don't taste that damn good. Come on. Let's get real. That shit don't taste that good. It don't taste that good. But they put shit in it. You know how the McDonald's, the kids be getting hankering for McDonald's like it's the best shit in the world. That shit ain't that good. It's got chemicals in it that addicts us. They study us. We're addicted to toxins that blow us the hell up. We are addicted to this garbage. And now they trying to make it so they don't grow nothing but garbage. They paying people to make sure they don't grow nothing but garbage. That's horrendous.
So what she was saying about the food, I just put a link in the description, and you guys can pull it up. You really should check this out about this food that's being produced now. It's really tearing us apart. And I know, like, we don't like to read, we don't like to look at nothing over 5 minutes. We got that snap. We just want everything right now, right now. Check out the food. If you do nothing else, I mean, it's about an hour long, but check out the food and you'll understand why we can't think, why we don't know nothing. Huh? I don't know. You'll understand why we're always like that. Simple stuff. So it's like Lisa was just saying a minute ago. Why the women are the ones who the babies come through, as the men who are helping them accomplish that goal. Shouldn't we have something on earth or in our own home set up so that can become a possibility and not making it hard for them? Shouldn't that be the case? We are arguing dog our woman and die in another woman's arms and act like everything is cool. We're putting our children in a bad situation just by not thinking, like we said earlier, just going on your feelings, not knowing. I don't know. And that's all Black African Americans do. Dude, you don't dog out your women. You don't, I mean, you just thinking about your mother, first of all. I know all mothers aren't cool, but most mothers are. You should look at it from that point of view. This woman couldn't have aborted you to make her life easier. Couldn't she have? But she didn't. She had you and brought you up and did the best that she could. And now that you get grown up, you just bitch and hoe her to death in front of everybody, don't you? And then try to lie and say that ain't what you meant. A high value man, a high value man doesn't keep his money in the enemy's bank, does he? Hello?
A high value man don't spend his money on all the designer shit that somebody else is making.
Can I get a witness? This A high value man doesn't take a person who tears his home up and doesn't worship his gods. Does the high value man do that? A high value man doesn't work for a person that took his land and build it for himself. High value men don't do that, do they? But it's one that does it, and that's the Negro in America, right?
Mm.
You always say you don't do something, and you right in the forefront. That's what the black man. That's what the black man does in America. The high value men don't kill each other, right? Do they? Guess who do that?
They sure don't.
High value men. I mean, listen. You had the Negro Leagues, baseball leagues back in the early 1900s. You ever ask yourself, how come we don't own no baseball teams and no football teams and no basketball teams? Wouldn't that be a high value man? We just want to dribble the ball. But you a high value man. So you come up with these terms, and like Lisa was saying earlier, those aren't even your terms. Those are terms that are given to you, and you swallow them and repeat them. There is no high value black man. None. Show me one. You think because a person wears another man's clothes, another man's tie, he don't have it? Japanese have their own garb, what they wear. Chinese men wear their own clothes, what they came up with, what their women came up with. Guess what the black man wears? Clown suit most of the time, right? But always running your yap about what you're doing. That's how we're taking control of. Because you don't know what the hell you're talking about, but everybody that's listening does. Everybody listening does. So Wavette says she handles these idiots as they come. Perfect. Because what's happening now is it's becoming more and more aware. And these are the people under 40 that are picking this stuff up. When you're 40 years old and you don't know nothing, and the example given, and you have to look at things, the examples, there's why we pick these things up. The example you can use is Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Men born in different years, both were killed before they were 40. Why? Because when you wake up, you can influence a whole bunch of people. But if you're still a dummy, and when you're in your 40, let them go. They ain't gonna do nothing. They're gonna be dumb for the rest of their life. Most of them, not all of them. Some do change. But damn, y'all. Damn. And we cool with it. We act like that's what we supposed to do. So you see this cat, this TD Jakes cat, and all these cats in the churches. Should we even play that game anymore? You see what it's about? You're being shown. So that's what I'm saying. How are we still tricked? How we always don't know, and it's right in your face. The majority of us don't even read the Bible. If you read it, you would know. We don't read it. We just listen to what some bootleg minister saying. We go with what they say, don't we? First, we empty our pockets. That's where we are. So as far as the women goes, and just look at it like this, and this is what I mean. Think. Imagine if there weren't any women. Imagine if there wasn't one woman. What would you say then? And this is how the black man looks. And this is how all these foreigners come over here and make asses of us. Because the black man in America will join another man's army to go off and fight his war and won't even stand up for himself or his woman at home. Can I get a witness? So what I say, Mother's Day for women is every day, because every day women are pumping out new life. And remember, it was the black man that was killing. Imagine what our population would be if we weren't killing each other off in the 80s. Imagine what our population would be. So we don't think of stuff like that. What our population would be if we didn't kill each other like we did in the 80s and 90s. We don't think about that, but always running our damn mouth. If you don't know what you're saying, don't say nothing because you make it worse. What these women were saying, what we played for you in the front, what they were telling you the truth. This is the United States government, the shittiest government ever created. And she stood up to him and asked him questions that you should be asking about everything. And they just stammered him and haw. I don't know. I don't know. You can't get brothers to speak like that about nothing. They normally go with what's being said because they can be Moors and Masons and get into all these groups because that's what most black men want to do. I wouldn't say most. That's what black men want to do. He want to be in somebody else's group, right? This was funny. I asked a brother today. I go, did Prince Hall, when he went over to Scotland to become a Mason, was he hazed? Did he get hazed? This Shine tried to talk out of it like I didn't know what I was talking about. I do. I mean, he went over to Scotland to become a Mason, right? Yeah. All his autobiography, all the books written about him says that. Was he hazed? And instead of answering the question, yes or no, he tried to get out of it. And this is what the black man normally does. Don't know what the hell he talking about. Never. And when you ask him a question about something he don't know. And this is what these cats do. They want to be in other people's clubs, other people's social groups to work against us. Them days are over, cuz. Them days is over. Brothers or black. Uh I'm like everybody else. I get caught up in stuff that I've been saying my whole life. Black men, black man that they always work against themselves. Always. Shouldn't by now one of these NBA or NFL teams be owned? One, you got Indians, you got people from other countries coming over buying up your team, which you make money for. All these sports, you're making these trillions and billions where people pay TV fees and build stadiums. That's off of your back. How come you won't own a team yourself? Because all the athletes, from what I told, are black. All of them. So this is what I'm saying. We could learn a lot from the men and women who came before us. Who are you? Who were those people? They weren't black. They called themselves what they were, who they were, what they built, what they contributed to the world, how they make the world a place where everybody from all over the world wanted to come and sit with them. Who are those people? Those were the people who sent you out into the world, aren't they? Lise?
Yeah.
Is that it? Amen, Beverly Martin. Beverly, you didn't go to church yesterday, did you?
Yeah, that's what it is. So, I mean, yeah, these people that send you out here, and basically, we fall into these traps over and over again. When are we going to get it straight? When are we going to start letting them program us? When are we going to start self-directing? Well, don't they understand that our ancestors were the architects of everything that we live, breathe, and do today? It's because I think that they give us this whole story of you the slave. Even if they have a famous inventor, they was a descendant of a slave. Did they erase our ancestral greatness, which diminishes us? We don't understand the micro aggressions and the major aggressions that are hoisted against us every day that we internalize. Not knowing who you are is detrimental. I mean, like I said, it's very important that we do our research. And then, like, even historically, looking at these entities, we don't realize how freaking amazing these folks are. And we don't really give real serious thought to it, I'm telling you. Because this gentleman is the issue of, let me see, did my slides all come through? Feels like it's missing my slides, man. It is. It's editing them out. Oh, that's really bad. That's rude and shit. Okay. What? It's like I lost a slide on this one. I got one less slide. That's so weird. It's just they don't want me to talk about that shit. They really don't want me to talk about it. 1, 2, 3. Sam. 4 is that. 1, 2. And that's all I got. Okay. Well, what I wanted to say is that this gentleman's called Thomas Fuller. Thomas Fuller is called the Virginia Calculator. He was born at about some crazy, ridiculous age time, 1710. Okay, 1710, and he was considered the Virginia Calculator. Okay, Thomas Fuller. Now that's really powerful, but all the time when they want to talk about these people, they want to act like the story's something else, right? They want to act like that these people, either they was born a slave or what have you, but they want to minimize it. Fuller wasn't enslaved. No, he wasn't. Renowned for his mathematical abilities, solving complex problems without formal education. Okay. But then you got Benjamin Banneker, another free, but what do they call him? A free African American. So they're erasing that he's a Negro or color, right? So he's now African. You putting in that African on everybody. Phyllis Wheatley, born in Africa. Benjamin Banneker, African American. Self-taught. They couldn't say he was enslaved. There's too much information to the contrary. But he's a self-taught mathematician, astronomer, surveyor. He established almanacs and corresponded with Thomas Jefferson, challenged him on issues of slavery and racial equality. Come on now. What kind of things were we doing? But then the thing that we don't really realize about ourselves, the thing that we don't really give ourselves credit for, is the fact that we're in our own families. We have yet to discover the greatness that's us. If you don't do the research on you, you're not going to be the expert of you. And you're not going to feel, I think that would be the biggest security builder for a lot of people that act really insecure and use a lot of this, indigenous information to build themselves up and to feel important. And there's nothing wrong with you feeling important, but just think how massively important and what a boost to your confidence is going to be when you find out what your people really did, what they really about. Brother I was talking to the other day that's building his nation, we was finding some information that was just blowing our minds. Like to just actually realize he talking about how far he got back in his genealogy, but then to realize where he was fixated with, the place that he kept being fixated with, to the point that it was annoying me, to tell you the truth. That actual town was always indigenous. It was always indigenous. It never was changed. It always was an Indian town. The name of it, everything. So it's like really crazy when you see it actually being admitted in writing. And then you're like, wow, y'all was running things well into the 1800s. They didn't even start trying to daggone take over your territory until the mid 1800s. So then you're thinking, well, what is then that runs into the Civil War. So then you got to really, really question the Civil War if these niggas was daggone running their town in Alabama way into the 1850s. There's a lot he's gonna uncover. There's a lot he's gonna learn. There's new names he was there going to introduce to. They're going chiefs that he didn't know he was kin to. But that's the magic of doing the genealogy and knowing your mother's people, your father's people, knowing your people. Because your people did some amazing things. It's like Carrie, just the other day, I just kind of happened upon finding out that the oldest living woman came from the town that his nation is from. So it's like, these are your people. So that's why it's important that we first got to respect ourselves. But in addition, maybe a lot of us got problems with our moms. And we got to heal that. If our moms don't make us feel like we don't feel that they are what they should be, then that causes a disconnection inside of ourselves. How are you going to feel right about you if you don't feel right about who produced you? How are you going to feel right about you if you don't forgive the person that produced you? That dysfunctional disconnection with your mother is a very hurtful thing. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think many people talk about it. Because there's such a thing for my mom, that people don't want to speak about these foul, jacked up mothers that are hurting them, hurting people psychologically, causing grown people to carry a shame of pain, a shame of anger, shame of being angered at your can't get right mama, at your good for nothing mama. Because really nobody wants to hear that conversation, do they? Nobody wants to talk to you about how your mother ain't no account, how she can't get right, how she's horrible, how you can't stand her, how much she messed up your life. Nobody wants to have that interview from you. You don't want to talk about that to the guy that you started dating, right? And you know what that causes? That causes you to swallow a lot. You gotta suck it up. You gotta take in the fact that you feeling anger. And that's raising your blood pressure. We got enough raising our blood pressure. So when you hold on to past injuries and you hide them, they're never hidden. They coming out in your eczema. They coming out in your hypertension. They coming out in your daggone asthma. They coming out. It's coming out. Your past injuries still are gonna hurt you. You gotta heal them. You gotta heal them. Not that you ever gonna make somebody right. You're not gonna change nobody. If you got a good for nothing daddy, who wasn't there for you, you can't fix that. If you got a good for nothing mother who wasn't right and still ain't right, you can't make her be right. She ain't gonna change. He ain't gonna change. All you can do is like Carrie said, well, at least they made me. At least I'm here. At least I'm not that way with my children. At least I'm not that way with my nieces and nephews. At least I'm a better person. At least I'm careful about how I treat people. At least I'm trying to do better things with myself. At least I'm trying to hold myself accountable. All you can do is move forward to the better. All you can do is do what you can for you and yours, but mostly you.
And then you also have to remember, how did how did your dad get like this? What happened to them for them to be like that? Were they dogged out? Did something happen to them while they were in the church? Did something happen to them while they were in school? Did the police, what kind of traumatic experience did they go through? You got to have feel something for them for something like that happening to them. If that happened.
Yeah.
And we just constantly beat up on each other.
Yeah.
That's what it was set up for. That's why they did what they did to you. That's why they did what they do to you now.
That's
So
why
you
they
can
back the churches, right?
one more time.
That's why they back these churches. Because they divide the family. Churches divide families. Period.
I know they be getting a lot of resources from the community, but Beverly Martin said in her, and I know everybody's listening have seen this phenomenon going on. She says the churches in her area have been bought up by Hispanics, right? Because that's damn sure what's happening in Los Angeles. I know people who have been diehard Christians my whole life. They only go to church once a month now because people don't go to church no more. And other nations are coming in buying up. They're just renting out the same building. And the Negro, they don't have it for the whole month no more.
Nope.
They've lost so many parishioners that other churches come in and take up the other Sunday. So good things are happening.
That is a good thing. The fact
Yeah.
that less under the control and manipulation of the church is a good thing. That's us evolving. That's us, actually rising up. So that's a good thing that we're not controlled by the churches. We're not listening to everything some man in the daggone robe is telling us to do. We're not letting him control us while he's controlled by politicians and government entities. That is good.
I think the good part of it, and this is what I'm getting from a lot of the youngsters, is they're really starting to read the Bible. Because I had a young lady tell me, she said, I've never read it. I just listened to what my mom or the pastor said. And I'm like, read it. And she was like, I never saw that. But how couldn't you see it? It's right there.
Right.
And she was going on what she was being told also. Read
Right.
it. Once you read it, you will understand that all you're doing is doing devil worship. Just read it.
Mhm.
I mean, Amos Wilson told you this 30 years ago. Read it. Bobby Wright told you this 50 years ago. Read it. And that's my point being, I don't think most of us can read. Because if we would, we wouldn't be filling up these hell holes like this.
Well, we
There's
like
no way.
to us. That's the thing. We like having someone. We like hearing somebody entertain us, and we like having somebody tell us stuff. That's why television and media works so well on us. Because once you tell us something and show us something, we good. We believe it. You're gonna be hard pressed to get it out of us. You know what I mean? We get transfixed by that. Don't be a daggone competent speaker. Don't have charisma. Oh, we gone.
Oh, you got to sound smart. Well, the perpendicular circumference of the hypotenuse.
Oh no, no, because you go by TikTok, they be like double dooba dooba. Abba, abba dooba, uba dooba dooba. TikTok, the most ignorant sounding person, got the biggest rooms and the biggest more people in it, and the most gifts and the most daggone likes than anyone. That TikTok, if you sound like a double double double, double double, and you can't speak nothing without an interpreter, that's when you're gonna have all the daggone audience, all the likes, all the damn gifts, but from these the most ignorant person in the world, that's who gets it. So no, they don't like an intellectual on TikTok. No, they don't. They might like a woman that's a little smart, but they gonna be on the show of a double 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 double. The double 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 gonna have the show and have everybody be on their panel, and they might have a smart girl on there talking, but that's about it. But if the smart girl got a show, they might not listen to it.
They won't listen to it.
No, they won't. No.
So remember, you are your ancestors' contribution to the world. They brought you forth. They didn't abort you. They didn't just leave you on somebody else's doorstep because they wanted change. And their hope was that you would be that change. Don't continue being black. Don't continue being Negro. You're here for a reason. You can find out that reason if you do simple genealogy going back through your family lineage. Who were they? What did they do? What did they aspire? What did they build in their communities? You got to find that out because you come through that. That's you. So, Lisa, anything else?
No, I'm about ready. Ready when you are. Blast off.
So, check out this woman right here. Check out this woman, her and a whole bunch of other women. What was the lady named Miss Crumpler that you was talking about, the nurse earlier?
Rebecca Crumpler.
Rebecca Crump. Check out, what our women were, it isn't what other people say that they were. They might talk about their women like that. But when they talk about indigenous women from America, off the hook.
Y'all got to understand, they really don't have a history of doing very much. That's why they have to go to England to teach us really English characters. That's why they got to go to Europe. In this country, they ain't done much to contribute to nothing. And they got to hide a lot of our contributors because it's too much. We celebrate in nursing Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale is behind our nurses. Our nurses were professional nurses before they had a professional nurse. She was a professional nurse, the first one, because they were considered whores in England. And they were still having people dying of all kinds of pestilence all the way into the 1900s in England. We never had that. Not until they got here and started trying to take over. And then they make these diseases to give to us. We have a lot to be proud of.
And show your brothers and sisters, men and women, grandmothers and grandfathers, mother and fathers, aunts and uncles, children. Show them how much you appreciate them, even if they're not yours.
Right.
Let them know what has happened to them. Don't give them no bullshit story that you swallowed. Like I say, go back through your own. This is your history, not the history that somebody tells you is yours. You have a history. You plugged into your ancestry like you plug an extension cord into a wall. You get that same flow of energy. You got to know that. Don't let nobody come and tell you African, you a Moor, and all that other crap. When you do that, when you find out, you'll look at yourself and the world in a whole different light. I'm out, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm out too. You
Oh,
got
let me just say to HOA, hey man, we appreciate your comments, man. We appreciate it. And to the other cat that said I sounded like a Moor, really, dude, I'm one of the dumb ones. I don't know nothing compared to some of my ancestors and some of the other people walking around here passing me information. I don't do that. I don't follow other ideologies. I don't do that. That's what African Americans and blacks do. I follow my bloodline. That's all you got to do. So thank you guys, and you guys have a good evening. We'll see you next time. Peace.